I wanted to talk about the clip of Steve Bannon appearing on Bill Maher and saying that Trump is going to be doing his third term thing. I have not watched this clip. It sounds like you have not either. I think that this would be kind of fun for us to watch together. Have you noticed? I've noticed this before we watch the clip. A lot of these characters who started out as just like total scumbag looking folks like Steve Bannon and also Curtis Yarvin and a couple of these people on the right, they've like cleaned up massively. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Look at him here.
Just in the last couple of years, like look at him here.
He looks like a chinless Jay Leno.
Yeah, almost like he's gonna roll up in like 5 cars, you know.
He's like some weird combination of like pre-fat Elvis, pre-fat still old Elvis, and no chin Jay Leno.
Yeah, that's a good description. Well, let's go ahead. Let's watch this clip. We'll do some commentary. Can't wait.
Yeah.
That committee was totally rigged, and I didn't mind going to prison.
I brought a copy tonight. Here it is, the Constitution. Can I read a passage to you? Amendment 22. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And yet you keep talking about Trump's third. Maybe you should have this. Here,
I'll get you to sign it backstage and underline it. Look, President Trump didn't bring up running for a third term. Myself and others brought up running for a third term. President Trump is going to run for a third term, and President Trump is going to be elected again on the afternoon of January 20th of 2029. He's going to be president of the United States.
Okay, but the thing I just read in there, it seemed like there was no wriggle room there. It seemed like it was just, 8 or 10 words it said only 2 times.
We have a team of people that are working. A team.
How can a team do something about that? What? I don't care if the team is 12 trillion people. The words are still the words.
Bill, every day in federal courts, right now in federal courts, there's 120 lawsuits on what President Trump's doing for his Article 2 rights on the unified executive theory. But he's chief executive, he's commander-in-chief, and he's chief magistrate and chief law enforcement officer. There's 100, and they're running to court every day to sue President Trump, all because the interpretation of this. The interpretation of this is open for interpretation.
How could it be open? Could I have it back? How could it? I'm sorry to be. No person. You would agree he's a person. Okay, shall be elected. He was elected to the office. That's the office of the president more than twice. Twice is once and then another time. I don't see what the team is finding.
Okay,
I will disagree.
Wow, legend, Bill. Every time the first like 3 seconds I hear his voice, I'm like, this smug, and I'm like, he's so funny though.
His timing on his show, honestly, is very good. It's very good.
It's incredible.
But what do you think about this? Like, I mean, it is by definition an anti-American position. It's like, forget about like constitutional originalism, which like conservatives, have always just like been married to as a philosophy. This is not only not that, it's the opposite of that. It's zero respect for the Constitution, right? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's so funny because the first thing that jumps to my mind is like, yeah, obviously this is not constitutional. And so it probably will be struck down by some court somewhere. However, the thing that is the most salient to me is like, he's already the oldest president of all time. We've already had this whole like debate about geriatric politicians. Like, I just don't see like him going for another term and like 4 more years of being the oldest president of all time. I think that is like, people are going to be able to pin him to the wall on that. And I'd be surprised if he rides out the rest of this presidency without a little bit of cognitive decline. This guy's old as dust, man.
All of that is like absolutely pertinent, and you're totally right to zero in on that. But like, for me, I'm just completely hung up on the idea that I mean, like Bill Maher said, there's zero wiggle room here. And what that team of people, like Steve Bannon didn't exactly say this, but he kind of said it. That team of people, what they're doing is they are preparing for what to do when courts strike it down. The next step of how like to ignore that and then steamroll ahead and then just make it the case that he just happens to be, no matter what any other authority says, that team is making it so that will work out. Whether it's like through, I don't know, the military or who knows what they're trying to like put together. But another thing that this says to me is that like, if they're willing to just throw this away as a meaningful part of the Constitution, that just shows that they have zero respect for the whole entire document. Like this is just so foundational. This means that there's literally not any other, set of words in there that they would not be willing to throw out in the name of their Lord and Savior, Donald Trump. That's maybe even the most disturbing part of this.
The thing I guess that worries me about it is that, like, wartime president really has the ability to do a lot. And I do really pray that we don't get drawn into another kinetic conflict with some country somewhere else. But that's the only falling short of that. I just don't see anybody going for it other than like these idiots. And I think also that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party will probably work pretty hard over the next 4 years to come up with candidates that are serviceable, which has not been the case for the last couple election cycles. Like we just haven't had really serviceable alternatives in any meaningful way. But yeah, I mean, Jesus, I mean, what else can you say about the Constitution? You can't do it, buddy. Yeah, I think it's patently absurd. I think it's absolutely patently absurd. I think it's un-American. I think it's absurd. I think it's treasonous. I think that all of this kind of philosophical debate around whether the Constitution is like sturdy enough to like, what are we even talking about? Like, this is like the guiding
exactly
this is guiding light of Western civilization. This is the most intelligently constructed document in human history. You know what I mean? Like, come on, guys. Like, we're not gonna go traipsing on the Constitution for this fucking clown, man. Nobody's gonna do that.
I have one more just commentary here, and this is my liberal brain speaking, I'm sure. But Republicans are just so lame in that they're not even thinking about how they can get someone better than this. I mean, like, sure, Democrats liked Obama, but like, I never in my life was like, oh, we could never do better than Obama, or there's not going to be someone 10 years younger than him, that could rival his excellence, but then like surpass it. How come they're so just like hung up on this one guy? Like it's so like lame fundamentally.
I actually did have a moment with Trump this week where I was like, I laughed involuntarily pretty hard. And it was his little tariffs speech where he was like, they're calling me up, they're kissing my ass, they're kissing my ass trying to get me to make a deal. And I think, I mean, I've been saying this for, I don't know, 10 years now, that like the reason why Trump is so beloved, it is literally just the way he talks. He's just
exactly.
He's George Bush Jr. on steroids 2.0, right? Like he's like, you remember the Bush Jr. affect where he was like, I'm just the guy from Texas and like, we're going to kick some ass over there. And it was like one little grain of sand in Trump's kind of like giant ass. You know what I mean? He is so loose and he's been in the spotlight for so long. He's, more difficult to flap this time around for some reason, which I hate to say it, gives him a little bit more cool points. And I think that people have fetishized him in a way because he's like he is an anti-politician. Like he's not in keeping rhetorically with any politician we've ever had ever. And I think people just really love that about him. I don't know.
You're totally right. At some level, I get it, even though it is like ultra pathetic. But I wasn't going to play this, but there's another clip that just like I was just cracking up about because it explains Trump so thoroughly. Did you happen to catch Destiny talking to George Santos on his podcast?
No. Oh,
You
this
remember
sounds
George
good,
Santos,
though.
right? Did you
Yeah,
remember George
we
Santos?
all remember George Santos.
He
Yeah.
has a podcast that's weirdly enjoyable, and I mean he's so like entertaining to watch. I mean, obviously that's like why he was elected in general. Let me play this clip. I'm just gonna queue it up and play it.
It makes sense that Santos would be a more serviceable media figure than politician. I mean, that was kind of his whole affect in the first place, right? Like,
oh, absolutely. Oh, it makes so much sense. It's kind of phenomenal. But yeah, okay, I just pulled this up.
how
Here's
hilarious
George
will it be
Santos.
if people are getting into politics as like a low barrier to entry social clout, so that they can then pivot to media.
Oh, that I actually already know that is a thing. I know some people who have sort of kind of done that. Maybe even like Andrew Yang at some level, or a better example is Ramaswamy. Yeah, Ramaswamy effectively was that. I always thought.
Right. Right.
Okay, let me play this clip. Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on it.
Hit me.
Trump isn't like a political person. He's a joker as well. I mean, what do you mean? He's the president of the United States. He's literally, if you listen to Donald Trump, Donald Trump has a 40-word vocabulary that he uses in every single interview.
What's two his favorite words?
Give us a Trump sentence then, based on your own assessment of his vocabulary. Well, ask me a complicated foreign policy question. Destiny, what will you do to resolve the trading deficit between the United States and the United Kingdom? Okay, I can't do his accent, but the United Kingdom has treated us so horribly. Biden was a sucker. They've taken advantage of us. We're being treated horribly by them, and I'm going to talk to them, and we're going to have the best deal. It's going to be so much for the United States. I've never seen so much as there's going to be for the United States. Illegal immigrants.
Wow.
Right? I think that nails it. That just like absolutely nails Trump,
Well, it kind of gets to it in a weird way. It digs down to like an almost subtextual point in all of this, which is that like for whatever reason, the political class has been convinced for the last like I don't know how many generations that normal people give a fuck about policy, and it's like, dude, no normal person is getting in the weeds on policy. Like he's like the Trump like ability to
that is true until people start coming for Social Security and a couple of things like that. Then we're gonna be changing that narrative. I think sometimes these big narratives that are true for so long like that, they become untrue when just like the wrong thing breaks. And I feel like Trump is going to break one of those things. Maybe even like the tariffs at some level will also be one of those things that you're not supposed to break and he breaks it,